Hey, it's Adam, and you're listening to The Adam Cobb Show, weekly content devoted to all things fitness, finding your center, and fumbling through fatherhood. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. We hope this is a space that you come to, that you can feel connected. We're better together. Please subscribe and follow all of our social channels so you don't miss a thing. Let's listen to today's episode. Usually it takes some time to get to this point. And this is the first time. Started a show with tears coming down my face. We start the show off with a prayer, collective prayer. And prayer got me. I want to share a moment that happened recently. I feel that I had a heart shift. And why this is important to you is because I don't want to share this. This is a private moment. And I'm even hesitant as I'm sharing this to think of, we could cut this and go in a different direction. And I could talk about some performance tip that's going to make your life better. But as I let go of that need to always do performance, as a performance coach, I want to bring you into this moment because I believe that if I have experienced, and I'm being real, if I experience anger and frustration, and I experience sadness, then you do too. And as a dad of 3, especially an unexpected 3, I was prepared for 2. I wasn't prepared for 3. I want to share this most recent discovery and let you into a therapy session that I needed and share with you how I sort of have been navigating this issue, this anger and this sadness, because I do believe that I've started to get to the other side of it. And I believe all of us want to be on the other side of that. If we're angry and sad, what's the other side? Well, I think the other side is connection. I think the other side is presence. I think the other side is love. Recently, I found myself holding my baby Sterling and Lionel and being with my daughter Scarlett, and I found myself feeling angry because I couldn't name it, but I knew that there was a sense of my freedom that I felt like was gone. And I'm not sure if you're like me, but if you're a dad and a father, I know that, like, how do you find freedom in fatherhood? It's hard. But also, how do you find freedom, like, in your life? How do you, do you feel angry? Do you feel frustration? And if you're not a dad, if you're a mom, if you're a parent, if you're a person, all of us experience this. I didn't really feel the height of this until recently. As I brought this to my therapist, I definitely felt shame that me, when I'm holding one of my baby boys, that I was feeling angry because they were crying. And I was feeling angry because I was looking out my window of my house while people were jogging by, and I was just thinking, God, I just want to be jogging. I want to be surfing. I want to be outside. I want to be like, I don't want to be holding the baby. And I definitely want to be hearing a baby crying in my ear for 2 hours. And I kept thinking of all the things I could be doing versus the thing I was doing. And it's creating so much anger. So I brought this to my therapist, and she's amazing. Her name's Marky. And Marky drove down this issue to like a 7-year-old Adam and not experiencing freedom outside the house. And I don't know if you've ever thought of that, but you start to think of how did your childhood inform? And I'm not, certified therapist, and I'm not trying to be that in this conversation with you. But what I've found that I think is helpful to share is that as a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, my mom was often outside of the house working, and I was outside of the house too, and being with friends and playing, and or I might have been in a deep zone with like video games or even like G.I. Joes, but usually outside of the house playing with friends. And now, recently, I'm in the home, and I'm in the home where in the past, like I didn't have a lot of freedom in the home. And now, with 3 kids and a life partner and days, I'm like, how do I find freedom in this environment? Well, I'm starting to learn. And what the therapist told me was like, okay, so you're experiencing this anger. And this is what I want you to write down. I want you to write down the word anger, or just jot it down in your head. And okay, anger, when do I feel anger? And what she shared with me was like there's a wall that goes up when you feel anger. And when the walls of anger come up, like, I'm no good. I'm zero good. And she said, well, you're a man of faith. You speak to God consistently. In these moments, something that you could try is you could be holding your boy and you're feeling like fear of missing out, FOMO, you're feeling like I don't want to hold this boy, my shoulder's going to tear off. Relate this to somebody else. If you're not a parent, you're stuck in maybe an office or whatever it might be, but talk through it. Talk through it to your inner self. Hey, I'm really frustrated right now. I'm feeling anger right now. And have a conversation with God about it. And so recently I started doing that. And I started having this conversation. I said, hey, God, I'm feeling angry. Or, hey, I'm starting to feel angry. And as I talked through why I'm feeling angry, the therapist, Marky, genius, as she said, the more you talk about your anger to God, to yourself, even to your partner if it's appropriate, the anger starts to just slowly fade. And now the anger becomes what? Say it with me. Becomes sadness. So you go from anger and frustration to sadness. Now you don't want to be stuck on Sadness Island, but when you get to sadness, and this is what I've worked on, because then I was feeling like, now I'm not angry, but now I'm sad. And now I'm sad. I'm here, but I want to be there. I want to be doing all these things that filled my cup up greatly, where I feel like I'm me, right? And the problem is, sometimes, especially early on with kids, you don't feel you because, and I haven't felt myself often because all the ways in which I filled up my cup were largely based on adventures and activities and a lot of solitude time. You get much less of that. So now all of a sudden we're in sadness land. Okay. And then same thing. Now talk through sadness. Talk to God about sadness. All right, God, I'm feeling sad because boom, 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 boom. The more I talked about the sadness, sometimes I got stuck there, but through sadness, talk through the sadness to God, to myself. All of a sudden now, getting to the place of connection and presence. And recently, I've had a huge heart shift. I'm not saying I wasn't grateful to have 3 children, but I was having a really, really hard time being present. I was stuck in a bit of that performance. Like, I got to do this, I have to do that. And if I do this, then this will be more efficient. And then I was like checking out, which I've talked to a lot of parents and, mom and dads alike. And we find these ways to check out. And I don't believe we do it consciously. I believe subconsciously we do it. And then we don't realize. And then we make our partner feel alone, or even we feel alone while we're doing it. And so we go from anger to sadness to presence. And this has been a big discovery for me. I do believe I've had this heart shift. And I just want you to know that, like, when these things come up, it's okay to feel everything. It's okay to feel it all. But don't run from the feelings and don't numb it out by having all the different ways in which we numb. Right? TV, we can numb by TV. We can numb by alcohol, name them. You know the thing that you do to numb out. For me, I was sometimes going into like the spare room of the house reading a spiritual book. And I was like, but I just need a few minutes for myself while all the kids are crying. I picked the worst times. and that's not okay. And I swear right now in this moment, as I'm recording this and I'm sharing this with you, I am obsessed with my baby girl, Scarlett. I am obsessed with my big guy, Sterling, and my other big guy, Lionel. I'm obsessed with them. And I've been, over the last few weeks, as I made this big shift, this big heart shift, and also learning a tool of how to get through anger to sadness to connection and presence. I've been holding these guys and I've just been like with them and present to seeing their chest rise, watching their breath, and then leaning in and listening to their breath and noticing that like one of them has like a little kind of like indentation on the ear, and being present to all of it. And like right now, I can't wait to finish this recording and get home and hold them and be with them and spend a couple hours with them before they go to bed. And I'm grateful to be obsessed right now with my kids. And for the whole life of this show, I haven't been that way. It's been really hard. And I've felt guilt around, I want to be doing so many other things. And right now I don't. And I'm really happy to be sharing that with you. And if you're in that place, let me know. It'd be cool to hear from you. But most people, I imagine, are stuck in that place. And I'm not saying I won't go back to that place. I hope I don't. One other practical tip that Marky gave me that may help you is she gave me something called the freedom practice. And what she said is, you're not feeling that freedom inside the house, but you're kind of always there, especially like on the weekends. Ask Daisy, hey, is now a good time? And, you always had to ask that of our partners, hey, is now a good time? And the hope is you have a partner that cares enough to say, yeah, now is a good time, and take 15 minutes to have a freedom practice. And designate like a drop-down menu, like the 3 to 4 things you're going to do to celebrate your freedom, and create a freedom practice inside the house. Last 2 weeks, I've done it every day, and it's changed the game. I know 4 things that I do that are like my go-to 4 things. You'll have to like DM me for those things. But like, find your things. Create a freedom practice. And almost have like a drop-down menu so you know what they are. You know what the 2 to 3 to 4 things are that you're going to go to, and do them 15 minutes. And then you start to, that freedom starts to build inside. And now I'm 2 weeks in, or maybe 2.5 weeks in, and that is having compounded like freedom interest. And I'm still in the house, but I'm feeling a freedom in the house and free with my children when I'm holding them. And my hope is that wherever you're stuck, or where you might not be feeling free, or that you can create that for yourself by a freedom practice, and also moving through the walls of anger to sadness to hopefully connection. Well, that's it for today. I'd love to hear from you and let me know what part of this you've tried on. And also know, and who else out there is having a hard time with anger? Who else out there is having a hard time with sadness? What are you doing about it? I'd like to learn from you too. What are you doing to support that? What have you tried? What's worked? What hasn't worked? I also wanted to share where this show is heading. I've been just so excited to explore these topics of fitness and finding your center and fumbling through fatherhood. And I believe that, especially with the dads out there, that we built a certain amount of trust because we've been exchanging, you've been watching and listening, and we're starting to get a feel, and I'm starting to hear what's important. But in that process of me listening, I've been hearing from a lot of single people, and I've been hearing from a lot of women around, hey, I feel that way too. And I'm realizing that, well, when I first became a dad, and over the last 3 years, I felt really isolated and alone in that process. And I wanted to make sure that the dads knew that, hey, you have a place to go to, and you don't have to feel alone. And you can feel alone, but also we can come together in that. And you're not alone in that feeling alone. And what I realized is that more than just dads feel that way, that a lot of single people feel that way. A lot of women feel this way. And I want to be able to speak to you too. I feel like I'm going to start, I have a bunch of guests coming, and a lot of them aren't going to be dads. A lot of them are going to be people that are feeling that isolation and that aloneness. And they might be living big lives. They might be living busy lives. But at the core of this is going to be getting to know who they are. And I want to, as I mentioned, peel back that curtain, as I just shared with you around the therapy session. I've had access to be behind the curtain, on lots of movies and shows, and to be with the actors right before they go on set and right after, and some of that anxiety that they experience. Athletes, pro athletes, before and after the game or the event. How are they feeling? All the worry and the anxiety that shows up there, the fear, and that we all feel, right? That we all put our, pants on the same way. Pastors, before they get on that platform, right? In that green room, some of the insecurities that show up there, top CEOs, and just everyday people, that I want to bring sort of a commonality that I want to share with you. Not the highlight reel, but the human story that lives in it all, not what we do or what they do, but who they are. And my hope is that we can start kind of getting in here on this show. So we're going to explore these topics. It's going to be around getting to know these people are at the core and what makes them who they are. And my hope is in the conversation, I get clearer as to who they are and deeper, and so do you. And you see yourself in the reflection of them, and that we all collectively can start to understand ourselves more. And in that deeper understanding, we can take one step forward in making our lives better, and more understanding brings more clarity, and more understanding brings more joy and happiness. So that's where we're going to go. I hope that you go with us and with me on this journey of exploring not all these people and what they do, and not just performance, but real presence in who they are at the core. Because that's what I care about. And I'm sure you care about that too. So until next time, get out there, make a difference. I look forward to seeing you soon.